Welcome to the ALP channel where anything is possible. Tonight we got a little ghost town story for you. I wish I knew about it a few weeks ago. I would have went by and got some modern pictures of it to post in this. I drove right past the where to get to it. It's pretty neat. That was that close, but oops. I just didn't know about it. And then out of how my life works, just a circumstance of, where I was at the right place, the right time. Somebody was like, hey, uh, I told them where I'm from, where I live. And they're like, well, have you heard of Rodney, Mississippi? I said, I don't know where the hell Rodney, Mississippi is. I ain't never heard of it. And so they're like, well, it's a ghost town. And so I'm like, interesting. Then I looked it up and I said, well, I'll be damned. I was right down the road from it. So it was like, bam, I was that close to it, and didn't go see. So that means another road trip is in the works, and I'm going to have to take care of that for sure. Um, Guaranteed. Uh, so tonight we're going to talk about Rodney, Mississippi. It's almost the capital of Mississippi at one time. Busiest port between New Orleans and St. Louis, which is impressive. Especially since you got Memphis sitting right there in between the two. It was busier than it. At one time. Um, it's what made Memphis was. I get my microphone out of the way. Yeah. The ones that are watching video, they see I got my Made Me Memphis. Memphis Made Me shirt and got my Memphis hat on, so I'm just representing all the way around. Um, Memphis today, they're probably doing terrible things in the world. Probably moving up the most dangerous city list, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about that. Um, as we get into Rodney, I found a couple stories on it. One was talking about it's not easy to find. Yeah, go down a dirt road and a paved and dirt, just old Mississippi country road, really. There's an old country store on Highway 61. I almost said 64. That's the wrong state. In Lorman, Mississippi. Behind the store, make a turn onto a road that doesn't look like a road and travel northwest, passing the Cane Ridge Cemetery. After the edge is 12 slow miles of alternating surfaces of blacktop and dirt. The road starts to dip and pave again, and then suddenly it's bordered by an inexplicable curve, just as you see in a city subdivision. But this is no planned community. This is Rodney, the town that once was a bustling city on the banks of the Mississippi River. Today, it's a ghost town. It's pretty amazing. It sits in Jefferson County, and to this day, Jefferson County only has like 7,000 people in it or so. Um, give or take. And at one time, this town had four. What did I read earlier? Of course, in the 1800s, it had like 4,000 people. But they had two spreads of yellow fever. Of course, they had some back in the 1800s, which almost a lot of Louisiana, New Orleans. You come up to Covington, Louisiana, and Mandeville and all that. I know Covington. I went down there and seen a video talking about the yellow fever and how that's how far it spread up that river, and it was widespread. It was terrible. It killed a lot of people back in the 1800s, 1843, and in 1847. It said that in 1843, the national newspapers as far as Cleveland, Ohio, and Philadelphia reported the town had almost depopulated. They had almost everybody was gone. It's just amazing, think about, as residents tried to fled and avoid a disease that came from New Orleans, some survivors came back and said the town continued to thrive after that. By the 1850s, it became the busiest port on the Mississippi River between New Orleans and St. Louis. At that time, in 1850, 1,000 residents, 2 banks, 2 newspapers, a large hotel with a ballroom, several churches, and schools. Rodney quickly grew to 4,000 residents by 1860, which with more banks, wagon makers, tinsmith, barber, doctor, dentist, general mercantile stores, hotels, bars, and barber shops. Said the town's growth surpassed that of Jackson, Mississippi, which claimed a population of 3,191 by 1860. Which, if you don't know, Jackson, Mississippi is the state capital of Mississippi, and it's got quite a few more people in that right now. The population, of course, in Jackson, Mississippi now is around 140,000 people. So, it's a little more than that 3,000 in 1860. So, because of its location on the Mississippi River, it saw plenty of action during the Civil War. After the fall of Vicksburg and July 4th, 1863, Union warships had control of the Mississippi River with the gunboat USS Rattler stationed at Rodney. One Sunday, a few months after the Confederate surrender at Vicksburg, a Union sympathizer was preaching at the Rodney Presbyterian Church and invited the Union troops to worship. About 20 soldiers attended service that day, only learned during the second hymn that the Confederate soldiers had surrounded the church. After a brief skirmish inside the house of worship, the Confederates captured 17 Federal troops. When the gunboats learned of the capture of its soldiers, they bombarded the town. The Confederate lieutenant threatened to hang all imprisoned Union troops if the barrage did not stop. But by that time, the cannonballs from the ship had hit 4 homes as well as a church. They said the attack stopped, and Rodney area residents were proud that their small squad of rebel cavalry had captured the crew of a large gunboat. This story is an important part of the town lore, as the local points out the replica of a cannonball lodged above the church doors. Said graves back in Rodney Cemetery date back as far as the town's founding in 1828. It's pretty far back there. Almost 200 years. Said Reconstruction after the Civil War brought many changes to Rodney for generations. Wealthy landowners, prospered from a workforce consisting of enslaved men, women, children, forced to migrate to a new continent and suffer generations of cruel treatment and long days of unpaid labor. Said when the slaves became free people, many left the area. Residents had already lost food and livestock when the Union troops came through during the war. In 1869, a fire damaged the growing community. In 1870, Mother Nature dealt a blow. A large sandbar formed in the river, forcing the mighty Mississippi to move 2 miles west. The town lost its port. The war, the fire, and the loss of river trade caused many of Rodney's residents to move to more prosperous towns. It's bad. Nowadays they would have just dredged that sucker and moved that sandbar, but back then they didn't have that technology or the power to do that. So old Mississippi does what it wants to do, and it's moved around over the years, moving back and forth as it pleases, because she does what she wants to do. And she keeps on moving along, as the song says. By 1930, the governor of Mississippi proclaimed that Rodney was no longer considered a town anymore. So in 60 years, it went from pretty 70 years. With 1860, it was at its high point of 4,000. And by 1930, it was no longer a town anymore. And then since then, floods from the nearby river continued to diminish remaining structures. Most locals say that the 2011 flood washed away most of the residents and structures that were left. Yeah, that was during the 100-year flood there, 2011. I got a bunch of pictures downtown Memphis of all the how high the river got. It was pretty amazing. Mud Island was almost underwater. They was out there trying to stop it. It was pretty amazing times, really. Still to this day, there's still some structures there. There's still some churches. Pretty neat, like this old church. These pictures from 2019, so I'm sure they're still there. Says the contrast between Rodney's past and present is striking. Even though a town is now in ruins, it still stands as a time capsule of a past we seldom see today. Said Rodney represents so many parts of Mississippi economic, cultural, and literary history, and made a famous appearance in Eudora Welty's novel, The Robber Bridegroom, published in 1942, a mythical story set in the Mississippi in the late 1700s. The Robber Bridegroom features Rodney as a bustling riverport town and once was. So the town lives on its literature and even in Broadway musical based on Welty's work. It said when you visit it today, with its basically now one road town, you can see remnants of the past. Stunning Greek Gothic revival church with its silver dome rises. There's a Baptist church. There's a striking structure more than it said. Oh, let me read. This Baptist church was in its days as a rural African American church. This striking structure is more than simply unused. It's derelict. The empty structure is surrounded by woods and a ramshackle cabin a few lots over. The paved road that leads into Raleigh dead ends to a dirt road, which once was the bustling Commerce Street. Now it's almost always muddy. When you turn on the road to the right, you see the Presbyterian Church with its grand bell tower. This structure is called a fine example of Federalist architecture in the state. Once you look closer, you see the broken windows and rotten wood. Spanish moss drapes from the trees along the roadside. It's hard to imagine that this ghost town was once a bustling port city. Imagine every steamboat on the Mississippi stopping here and people walking up and down the streets. And that's pretty neat to think about, Them old river boats with them big old paddles going down there and the steam engines. And I still want to ride on one of them things. Man, they're proud of them cruises on them things. They really are, but I like to ride on one. At least ride around just a little bit, at least a short trip. It said Commerce Street used to be 2 blocks from the riverfront. Now the mighty Mississippi is 4 miles away. It said you can only see it in the winter from the cemetery on a hill above town. And that's how far and easily that Old Man River can move and cut, do what it wants to do. And it said, one thing it said that the town is flooded so many times it just stays wet. If you dig a hole, it just fills with water. Man, the ground is saturated. The one I'm looking at here, got some cool pictures inside. Of course, it's got and water and stuff. Guess if I went out there to check it out, I'd have to bring some waders or something. I guess it's a good thing I didn't go because I didn't have no waders with me. I had every dang thing else. I had a bicycle and refrigerator and everything else, but I didn't have I didn't have waiters with me. Uh, it says Angel Puckett, president of the Rodney History and Preservation Society, moved there in 1980 and worked at the Alston's General Store, which is now an empty shell of a building on Commerce Street. It said back then, according to Puckett, Rodney still had about 75 or 80 people living there. Wow. It was said it was like a family that took me under their wings. Said it didn't matter if you were black or white. If you're from Rodney, you're a family. But since then, they've watched the buildings be tore down and moved to areas of the state. Said people just got tired of fighting the floods. By 93, the population had dwindled down, according to Puckett, who lives in a nearby Lorman and a rural route mail carrier for this area. She estimated about 10 people make their homes in the town that's not really a town. It says Jerry Thomas, who lived here his whole life with his brother and mother, said, I never lived anywhere else. Said that family whose home is built on raised pilings go to relatives' home when the town floods. They exist on the land and the generosity of others. And if you've never seen anything like that, you around river communities and stuff like that, or even like down the Gulf, you get down around Biloxi and stuff like that. A lot of the homes on the bluff on the Gulf of Mexico is all raised up. So if the ocean comes in for a hurricane or whatever, you got lots of opportunities for for you might have an opportunity to save your stuff. You won't save your car. That'd be the only thing. I'd have to have a fancy ass little elevator or something. Bring my car up if I live down or something like that. I don't want to lose all my vehicles just because it floods every damn time or whatever. That's why I didn't move down there. I almost did. I was on the verges at one time. Had a company wanted me to come work for them years and years ago. They were going to pay me to move there and everything, but it fell through. So, wasn't meant to be. That's all. Wasn't meant to be. But yeah, I like it down there. I like all this area of Mississippi around the Gulf. You know, by the time this comes out, you'll have heard the Natchez Trace Parkway one, and where this was at is just right northwest of Natchez, and it's just beautiful area down there. It really is. Like I said, I'd like to go and go check it out. Next time I'm down there and back camping and stuff. I got to finish getting my camper built first. By the time this comes out, I hope to God I got my initial camper built where I can actually use it. I'm gonna go try to use it to go around and travel around and check out places and stuff. And I can go buy a camper. That's easy. But the challenge of like I don't have enough things to do in my life, but the challenge of actually building something, making it kind of cool, making it my own. That's what I'm gonna be enjoying doing it. So I might try to. I get it. I get the camper going and everything. I'll post a video of it on my YouTube and Rumble and stuff. So once you hear this one here, when it comes out, you be looking for a video of my camper build and stuff like that, and y'all get to come along with me on some of my journeys as I come along, because I have my GoPro on with me, and we'll do podcasts in the middle of woods or wherever I am. It might be on the might be on the Gulf. I might be in the mountains. I might be in the Ozarks. You never know where I'm gonna be at. And once I get it going, we're gonna do some more traveling around and doing a remote podcast. So, by the time this one comes out, you'll like it. Be hopefully you'll enjoy that content too. But let me get back to the story at hand. Because my ADD butt is all over the place as always, and no one here to keep me focused. So there are some that's trying to save parts of the town here in Rodney. They got a group that actually purchased the Presbyterian Church from its longtime owners, the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Said the group continues to raise funds and save the church from structural collapse. It said it was started in 1828. The church was the same year the town was founded. It said the red brick structure was dedicated in January 1st, 1832. Said the church continued to follow the town's course and decreased down to 16 members in 1923 and lost its pastor. Said traveling pastors led services until the church was sold in the 1960s. The structure suffered from 2 major fires and flooding, just like the town. As it continues to deteriorate, the church stands tall as a symbol of the community. Said each member of the board of the Rodney History and Preservation Society has a unique connection to Rodney, which is pretty neat. The Presbyterian Church is the one that has the cannonball over the church door, where it's embedded in the wall from the rattler bombarding it. But what do you think of Rodney, Mississippi, Mitz? It's pretty neat to see, a history of, even right around, something that close to me, and like what was pretty neat to me that it was that close to me. Like I said, and then I traveled right there beside it. I mean, I passed the old store to get to it with the. Yes, it amazes me. How many times I was right there, drove past the road to get to there, and didn't even know nothing about it. And I've lived in the tri-state area for most of my life. Except for just a few brief periods of my life, all my adult life, except for a month. I guess you'd more take that as a vacation. I guess when I was in North Dakota for a month. But other than that, I've been in the tri-state, and it's pretty neat to see, history this close to me that that I didn't know nothing about. So it was like, well, if I don't know nothing about it, and I'm right here, there's a lot of people don't know nothing about it that is out and about. So that's why I do this and bring these topics to everybody, and some are more, amazing and spectacular, and then some are like this, just kind of, I thought they're neat. I hope y'all did too. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Enjoyed a little quick history lesson on Rodney, Mississippi, and the ups and downs of Rodney, I guess. Makes you wonder if they ain't got like little ghosts and stuff running around, if it's actual ghost town of ghosts and goblins, and I don't know, anything is possible. But that's all I got for this one today. I hoping you enjoying this, and hoping you like this. That's something little, another story, and bringing it to y'all. Hope you like and share. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're all at this point in there, I'm sure you did, or you would have cut off by now. Please like and share, and I'm also on, I don't know what platform you're on right now, but I'm on many others. I'm on the Spotify. I'm on the Rumble, YouTube. Um, we're on the Trouble Minds Radio Network, Digital Broadcasting KUPD. I'm syndicated on there with a bunch of other amazing, great shows. And, uh, just I have, if you see a, if you happen to see a podcasting thing that doesn't have the show, let me know and I'll put it on there. I keep finding more and more of them that I wasn't on, so I just keep adding and adding, and that way more opportunities for people that want to listen can listen. Everybody likes their different platforms and different apps, and um, to each their own. So I always appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all motivating me. Keep on keeping on doing this. So, um, as we say goodnight, y'all keep on keeping on, and peace and chicken grease. Y'all be good.